All right, guys, let's do this. This is the non-spoiler review for Madame Web. Okay. So, maybe saw my out of the theater reaction. Maybe you didn't. This is a little bit more detailed into why I didn't love this movie, to no one's surprise. If you're brand new to the channel and you're searching reviews, you're like, who's this? Well, find more of who's this. Hit that button. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 200,000 faster than we got to 100, but you got to hit it. If you're here and you're like, oh, I'm just do it. And you can argue with me later on the comment section. So, Madam Web. As I said, as I was coming out of this thing, it's just really dull, right? It's a dull movie. And you hear everything that, is it really as bad as they say? Yes, it is. But it's not one of those movies to me where I'm sitting there going, oh my God, this is brutal. It's just boring. And the story essentially is that Cassandra Webb, she is an ambulance driver, she's a medic, and she's got a bit of an edge, guys. And so why is that? Well, her mom was in the Amazon collecting magical spiders, and then she died. And then because of this, there's an incident that happens, and Cassandra's magical powers to see the future are awakened. Fine. And then Adam Scott's in this movie. And clearly, for what his role is, well, it says it in IMDb. He's Ben Parker. So it says it in IMDb. You look at the list, who's in this movie? It's Ben Parker. It's not like a major spoiler. But then they go, well, this is not connected to anything. Well, then why is he not Ben Lewis or Ben Jones? And there's a lot of those different references. Emma Roberts is in this movie for some reason. She's a pretty good actress, and she just kind of shows up to be a character that would basically be played by somebody who's trying to crack into the industry. And I feel like that role was supposed to be bigger. You could tell that there was so much editing and maneuvering going around this movie, and you believe that all the rumors about, well, they wanted to do this, and then they decided at the last minute to do this, and then they were going to do this, but then they did this, and then they realized that they had so many references to this, they had to cut around it, and it's a mess. True. So S.J. Clarkson directs this movie, and unfortunately, anytime there's a director and the movie comes out like this, you got to go, that wasn't directed very well. If there's something down the line that comes out, I mean, we've heard it with David Ayer and other people, Zack Snyder, who have gone, the studio really got involved, and I couldn't make the movie I wanted to make. That very well might come out down the line. But right now, you got to go, what are you directing here? Because the pace, it's a superhero movie. There's like 3 scenes of memorable? Sure. Memorable action. Dakota Johnson, I like a lot. And I think she does what she can do, but the script is just so bad. Some of the dialogue, you're just like, who wrote this? Like, what? Who wrote this? And AI, maybe? Maybe? I don't know. But that's not fair. That's not fair to AI. I feel like the AI would write better than that. I'm sorry, AI. But then the 3 girls, I actually think out of the 3 of them, I'll tell you that I think that Isabella Merced, who was in the Transformers movie, I think she's great. I think she does what she can do the best out of the 3 with the material. Not fair to Sydney Sweeney and Celeste O'Connor, but when there was a couple times with their reactions, and again, I think it's a directing thing. I'm like, that's not great acting. That's not, and I think but it's like there's a cop that gets like hit for some reason. The bad guy, instead of going after the girls when they're right there, starts beating up the cops, and Celeste O'Connor goes like this, and it's like that shouldn't make the cut. There's moments like that throughout it. And then speaking of the villain, I hate to say it because I remember him in Napoleon, and I think he was pretty good. But Tahir Rahim plays Ezekiel, one of the worst villains I've seen. He's not. I mean, there are cartoon skunks that my daughter watches on her show. She's 6, that are more intimidating than this villain. And again, I don't know if it's his fault or if it's the directing and the writing. I think it's a mixture kind of all 3. But the acting is the hardest one to blame. It's the hardest one to blame because you go, what were you kind of told to do? And you look at it, what else can I do with this? What else can I do with this? They told me to do this and I'm doing it. So I can't really blame him too much. It's just, he's not good. No. And it just takes basically this guy has a vision and he says, well, these girls, one of these days, they're going to kill me. So I got to get them. And then Madame Web sees it all coming and she goes, I'm going to save you. And that's the movie. It's like her saving and seeing and saving and seeing and seeing and saving. And then Ben Parker's in the movie. It's really, it's it. And you watch it at the end, you're going, what is this movie? It's just, Sony has this Spider-Verse, and yet they don't know how to, I don't think they really understand that it's not the late 90s, and people aren't just going to go see superhero movies, especially if they're not, we've seen a million of them now. They got to have something special to it. This movie, by the way, could have been with the idea. I'm not for stop doing time travel. It's overdone. I think anything can be overdone if it's done well. Meaning that you can keep doing it. Now, it's overdone. Yeah, but that one was good. I've seen tons of time travel movies where I'm like, oh, another time. Oh, glad they did that time travel movie. I remember Edge of Tomorrow. Seeing Edge of Tomorrow and saying, another time travel. I'm glad that they did that. So I'm not under that, but I just think that the way the execution of this was poor. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, I like Dakota Johnson a lot. I like the way she gives interviews. I like the way she carries herself. And Adam Scott is great, but there's so many people that are just kind of underused and people just kind of sitting on the bench. I don't know. Overall, what do I give this movie? You're asking me. It's a low one. I'm going to go 1.8 out of 5. 1.8. It's just this movie should have never seen the light. When you look at certain stories going on, or like if someone said, hey, we might have to take the tax credit on this one. All right. I get it. Anyway, what'd you guys think? You think it was bad? Do you think it was just bad, but not the worst movie I ever saw? Or I don't know, because I'm never going to see it. Go ahead and comment and tell me what you think. And hit that button, subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 200. I appreciate you. This is a review from Adam Webb. We're going to have a few more. We're going to have an episode with Roxy Stryer and myself a little later today where we're going to talk about the Sony problem with the Spider-Verse property and if they should keep making these movies. And then I'm sure we'll cover it a little bit more with Coy Jandreau tomorrow on Capes and Cows. So thanks for joining me on the show. I appreciate you. See you later.